You sat down with David Njoku last week. You're working on a story. Take us through that and kind of what you found out and where you're going with that story with David Njoku.
Yeah, there's kind of two aspects to it. Number one is, the dominant player that he can be. And, Alex Van Pelt, I asked him about it last week, and he said, yeah, we think David can be dominant in this league as a run blocker, but as a pass catcher, especially down the field, right? He gives you that dynamic ability out of the tight end spot where he can run downfield. And we saw the 43-yard catch against the Chiefs in the opener because he's big and he's fast and he's a great jumper, right? All the things that the Browns saw when they drafted him at number 29 in 2017 that really haven't shown up enough. And then you have the off the field, the focus. We talked a lot about focus, David and I did. And he said it's about having the focus on the right things. And that wasn't always there. He admitted that. And there were distractions, and that's life in the NFL, and you have to deal with it. And maybe he always didn't deal with those the right way, whether it was media criticism or just all the other stuff that goes with, being a young guy in the NFL. And he said he's better at that now. Baker said he's better at it, that you can see the concentration at practice, and he's really focused on the right things. And that means being a better run blocker and knowing the game plan so he can help more on Sundays. And he dealt with injuries too in that lost season, with Freddie Kitchens. It was a combination injuries. He tried to rush back. Freddie put him in the doghouse. It was like a lost year. And I know for a lot of us, it was like, well, is he going to recover from this? And I wasn't, positive that he was. And then he had a good year last year, but not like a breakthrough year. But the Browns, gave him that fifth-year option. They picked it up, and then they guaranteed that $6 million. That had an impact on David. He feels like, yeah, the team wants me. I think he looks at the tight end room and says, not only do the Browns play a lot of tight ends, but maybe he can surpass Austin Hooper as the guy and get a long-term contract to stay here. So, we talked about a lot of that stuff. He went to that tight end U that George Kittle runs. And, he was around all these great players, and he feels like, yeah, he can be just as good a player as those guys. But he said he learned a lot just from talking to guys about life off the field and everything the players deal with. And he's not alone in dealing with those things, but you have to kind of get past that and still perform on Sundays.
The other thing that is intriguing about David Njoku, when the Browns drafted him, he was one of the youngest guys in that draft class. He came out early. He is still really, really young. So upside is, it's tremendous.